Vicky here with me from the FIFO Family Project.
33 weeks pregnant and running out of PPE and flight approvals to get to site and making my project manager very nervous.
33.
33 weeks pregnant.
Wow.
And
they still let you fly. You must have been bloody important.
Yeah, very.
It blew my mind. I was like, what? So, what cancer did you have?
I was 29 and I was diagnosed with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Completely confused and out of the blue. Fatigue. And I was like, I work shift. Of course I'm fatigued. It's one of those things that you don't ever assume or you don't ever sort of think, it'll be cancer. It's like, no, you're young. Like, it won't be cancer.
No. How many children?
I have 2 now. Yeah.
2?
Yeah.
A boy and a girl?
I do. I have
Lucky.
a 6-year-old girl and a 3-year-old boy. Yeah.
The boy, a little terror?
They're both very dynamic children.
Awesome.
Integrate with the community or build your network or find your people. So people are really happy to chat and they're really happy to just have another conversation with people. And the kids when they meet other kids, one of my favourite feedbacks ever was from this gorgeous lady.
Welcome back to another episode on The Gold Room. I am lucky to have Vicky here with me from the FIFO Family Project. Vicky, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Just before we kick off, with the life and the times, so start racking your brain what you're going to be talking about. There's a lot there. I do need to pay special attention to our partner for The Gold Room, with The Gold Room, and mega resources. So mining, engineering, geology, Australia. Get in behind them. Don't know if you know much about them, but check them out.
Will do.
Powerhouse of the industry.
Excellent.
So life and the times, Vicky. Where do we start?
Sure. Well, I'm originally from the UK and I migrated over to Australia when I was about 25 with a fresh degree in my pocket, a criminology degree based off a bit of an obsession with criminal minds, which was not quite the reality of the criminology degree. And moved to Australia thinking I'm going to start my new life, my new career, and bit of a roadblock because I wasn't a permanent resident or a citizen with that visa that I was over here on. So ended up being given an opportunity to go for a FIFO role and thought, well, why not? Bit of an adventure, something else, something different. Yep. And ended up in the Pilbara just doing some work up there for originally for like a shutdown construction company. And
who was the company?
Downer was my original
cool.
one. Yeah, so we did a few small sort of shutdown projects with them, and one was shut down. And then after that, I was lucky enough to get onto quite a long-term project. So I worked for 4 years, nearly 5 years actually, on the Wheatstone project out of Onslow for contracting to Chevron.
Wow. Mm. And so some of that time was spent with your partner, Kiwi?
Yeah, Kiwi.
Sparky?
Yeah.
Far out. You can't get much better than that.
So don't hold it against me, but you won't.
No, not at all. So he was lucky. You guys were lucky enough to be on the same project.
Yeah, not for a while. So we were definitely, when we first got over here, he was finishing his adult apprenticeship, which he started before he came to the UK. So he was doing a bit of that. I was working away. And then eventually we both managed to get onto the Wheatstone project, but on different rosters. So he was working at that time 4 and 1s he was doing then, and I was on 4 and 4. So we saw more of each other at camp than we did in Perth. But
really,
good few years. Yeah, it was good fun.
Now you are. Your husband works FIFO still, and you're at home.
Yeah. So yes, one of us gets to still have the FIFO career, and the other one gets to have a change of pace. And it was kind of the right time for me anyway. I was 33 weeks pregnant and running out of PPE and flight approvals to get to site and making my project manager very nervous.
33
weeks pregnant.
Wow.
And
they still let you fly. You must have been bloody important.
Yeah, very. I think it was the end of the project and they were winding down, so it was very much a case of... And also, I was signed off to fly. I was safe, why not? But
what's the last week that you can be flying?
Ooh.
Is it 34 or 35?
It's probably, as long as there's no complications and stuff,
Really?
I think it would probably be up to about 35.
I remember flying, maybe it was to Bali or maybe back from Bali, and they were asking the question, how many weeks Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it depends.
Not me, obviously.
So, interesting trip to Bali. But yeah, I had to have doctor's approval and I had to have letters and all that kind of stuff and be signed off and make sure I was safe. And I was working in an office-based role, so I was, pretty much no different from me working in any kind of desk-based role, but it was obviously very remote and different considerations for sure, but I was signed off. And then so I finished up my time on the project and it was kind of coming to an end anyway, and I was a contractor, so no real leave to go back to, as it were. And it was sort of the right time because that project was finishing and a lot of my crew were sort of the older generation of gentlemen and ladies, and they were retiring, so it was very much a good time to be changing paths, as it were. Well,
Yeah, okay.
and you can't take babies to sites, frowned upon.
No. How many children?
I have 2 now, yeah.
2?
Yeah.
A boy and a girl?
I do. I have
Lucky.
a 6-year-old girl and a 3-year-old boy. Yeah.
The boy, little Tara?
They're both very dynamic children.
Awesome. Well, we're here to talk today about the FIFO Family Project. So, how did you get into it? How did you start it? What were the what did you feel that the industry was missing that made you start this?
Yeah. So, because both my partner and I were FIFO workers, we had all the information on site. We were all part of the same community. We were given the same sort of mental health information and training. And I never really thought anything of it because we'd both always been the FIFO worker. I'd never been a FIFO partner. We'd always just been the workers. So when I had my daughter and I came back to Perth, we both very naively thought, oh, what difference is a baby going to make? We're fine. We know we've done FIFO for years now. We know what we're doing. We were wrong. Babies, especially mine, which was colicky and all sorts of other things which we can go into a bit later on, was just completely like my whole world had imploded. And my husband went back to site after 4 weeks because he was a contractor, and none of this beautifully wonderful long extended maternity leave or paternity leave that you hear about from some of the mining industry. And I'll say that there are some phenomenal parental leave packages out there, but if you're a contractor, it looks very different. So
Yeah, I was a contractor and I took 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
And just straight back to it.
Which is great. Like you look back on it now and you just think, oh, wow, our whole world had changed for the partner that works away and the partner at home as well. And we've now got to navigate this whilst also being away and coming back and reintegrating. And yeah, I was just completely confused about what was going on just in general. Yeah. But then you'd go and see child health nurses and they would either not have any idea about the logistics of a FIFO life, or they'd tell you, I remember one telling me to go on a walk every night for my mental health without my baby. And I was like,
who's going to look after the bloody baby?
Do I leave it at home? I think that's not okay.
A new mother just, look, you know what? 10 minutes alone is going to be fine.
Exactly. I know I'm new at this, but even I know that's probably pushing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, just things like that where you feel like you're failing already, and then somebody tells you to do something and you physically can't. So
I guess the other dynamic that a lot of people wouldn't understand is that you would have been in the same situation as myself and my ex-wife is we've got no bloody help over here. There's no family, you know, Kiwi, and then yourself, you know, did your family come over and help out in the first, I don't know, some little stage?
Yeah, so I'm really lucky. Like I have got some of my family.
Oh, you
here.
do?
Yeah, my dad had a second family with a lady from Perth, which is hence why we're in Perth.
Okay.
So I'm really fortunate that I do have some here.
Amazing.
Both still working full-time and have children of their own, so they are definitely still in their own, they're not in their retired grandparenting stages yet, but they're still like super involved and super helpful where they can, which I'm intensely grateful for.
And that takes a little bit of pressure off too.
Yeah, just knowing that you've got some family here, it really, really is such a benefit for the FIFO sort of family lifestyle for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, it's for most families over here who don't have that, there is absolutely no network. There is no sort of family who can come around and help babysit. And, you know, you hear all these things thrown around like, you know, go on a date night once a R&R, and you're just like, once an R&R, I'm lucky if I get once a year. Like it's very much a different dynamic for new parents that nobody prepares you for. And it was like being hit in the face. It was such a shock for both of us, for my partner and for me.
Was that the gap in the market that you saw for the FIFO Family Project?
Pretty much. I was just really confused about why there was no even just education or information for FIFO families at all, let alone just having a new baby in a FIFO family. But it really surprised me. I was just genuinely shocked because, as I say, I'd always been the worker. I'd never had to look for that. And then I was diagnosed with postnatal depression 5 months after my daughter, which was a real shock to everyone because she's a miracle baby. I was told that I was infertile after cancer treatment, and she was everything I ever wanted, and we were both so over the moon that to then 5 months to be diagnosed with postnatal depression, it was like, hang on a minute, this doesn't add up.
Really, you didn't know?
No.
So what can we just go back to the cancer thing?
Sure, sorry, there was a lot in there.
It blew my mind. I was like, what? So, what cancer did you have?
Sure. So
Talk about what you want,
Yeah. No, and to be honest, it is another reason why I started the FIFO Family Project as well, because we were both FIFO workers. I was 29 and I was diagnosed with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Completely confused and out of the blue, fatigue. And I was like, I work shift. Of course I'm fatigued, It's one of those things that you don't ever assume, or you don't ever sort of think, it'll be cancer. It's like, no, you're young, like it won't be cancer.
Been told that?
I was going to say, turns out cancer doesn't give a shit how old you are. No. And by the time I was diagnosed, I was stage 4. And part of that was that they said I had to have chemotherapy in order to save my life, but the chemotherapy would likely leave me infertile. So that was the most heartbreaking thing for me and my partner, was the consideration of, I can't not have the treatment because I want to be alive.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to be alive and I want to have a family. Well, we wanted to have
You freeze some eggs?
We did. We tried to. Unfortunately, because it was at such a late stage, I had to go quite quickly into treatment. And we didn't have any, cover for IVF or anything. So we used our life savings to go for IVM, which is basically extreme IVF, like just compacted into a few weeks. Okay. And we got 1 egg from that. So it's better than none, but it wasn't quite the safety net that we were hoping for. And the other thing which people don't realise about AYA cancer, which is adult and young adolescent, is the impact on life where you're at. So when you're a young adult and you're diagnosed with cancer, you've still generally got big mortgages. You're still potentially a contractor, which we were. So I couldn't work for 4 months, but we still had mortgage payments to pay. So my husband had to continue working FIFO throughout my treatment, and that's a decision we made together. Still stand by that to this day. It's what works and what worked for us. Yep. We had the agreement.
Was that hard? It would have been hard stupid question. It would have been hard on you both. There would have been appointments that he wasn't able to go to. Yeah. He would have been freaking out up there, that time away when, that should be time together. Wow.
I don't know. I did kind of say to him, I said, I don't need you to sit around and watch me be sick. I can do that by myself.
Maybe holding your hair back or something. He could have done something.
I know, I'm pretty independent. But no, we did have an agreement that if I was ever hospitalised, then that would be the time that he came home. And I was hospitalised and he came home. And his company were phenomenal.
What company?
He was with Downer at the time.
Still with Downer, okay.
Yeah. So I will say that is one of the main drivers as well as why we started this, because life doesn't just happen like when you're not working or when you're not a FIFO. You still have to maintain a role, you still have a career, you still have a job, but you are, away, and you have to be supported. You have to have a good crew, you have to have a good company, and people have to know what's going on. Otherwise, you're all up in your head, you're worried and you're stressed.
Bottling everything up inside.
Totally. And then you sit in your donger at night and you're talking to your wife on the phone who's sitting in a chemo chair or whatever. And sadly, I know that I'm not the only one. There are many other families out there going through this or other huge life events as well. Like obviously cancer is an extreme, but even if you've just got sick kids at home, you're away and you're working and you're thinking, oh shit, I want to be with my kids. Yeah,
for me it was missing the birthdays, the Christmas, all those milestones, the video calling for those first steps, or not being. I think for me it was the not being told that of the first steps, but waiting for me to get home, and even though she said, "Oh no, he hasn't done this before," I was like, "He's either really good,
he's just legging it down
exactly. He just jumped up and started walking." I was like,
I know, yeah. And it's part and parcel of the lifestyle. Like one thing that I am adamant about is that I'm not here to glitter a turd. Like I'm not here to pretend it's all rainbows and lollipops, because some things are just shit. Yep. But that's part of the lifestyle that we have to work with, because that is part of the lifestyle. So we have to find ways to make it.
Navigating a way around it.
Yeah, and creativity. I swear to God, if I ever need to hire anyone, it's going to be a FIFO worker or a FIFO partner.
Yeah.
Because we have to be innovative and creative to ways that we never thought we would.
Yeah, for sure. So you started this project in 2024. It's been going for
A little over a year.
Yep, that's right. Over 1,000 people have been in contact, registered.
Yep.
So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That when you told me that, I thought, wow, there's obviously a huge need for it. You are the only FIFO family project business, or it's a non-for-profit out there.
Yep. Yeah, we're the only ones. So there was one previously. It was called FIFO Families, and it was run by a wonderful lady called Nikki Ashby, and she is now on my board. So she is very supportive and a wealth of information. And one of the things that Nikki and I talk about regularly is that what's so frustrating is the same challenges that they were dealing with then is that the same challenges are still going ahead now.
Let's go into those challenges.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, isolation is a huge one. So we talk about FIFO workers being isolated because they're geographically remote, but families are also isolated. They are in their homes, they are generally relocated, or they're migrants, so they don't necessarily have a big network. Because particularly with young children, if you've got no one coming home, you are not going out in the evening to classes, you're not meeting people. Generally, you're finding it harder to get work. That's another interesting dynamic that I've been thinking about lately and looking into. But partners of FIFO workers find it harder to find flexible work because they have to be on 24/7. And it's can be really isolating when you go to the main things that I hear, particularly when you've got young families and sort of kids at home and you're looking to get out to have that interaction with other humans, because you don't have a home partner coming home every day to get that adult interaction. You have to be proactive. You have to leave the house.
Yeah, right.
And it's very easy to isolate yourself if you're going downhill and you're starting to feel decline in your own mental health or challenges. It's very easy just to isolate yourself at home, because quite often you'll go to workshops or mums groups or whatever you want to call them, and you'll get the comments like, oh, my partner could never leave us, oh, I could never do FIFO, or oh, I don't know how you do it on your own, and just really like stigmatising comments where if you're a young mum who's already struggling, you just kind of think to yourself, well, actually I didn't ask you to. You don't have to. This is our family, our choice. But all the negativity that comes with it, it can be quite challenging, whereas our meetups, when they come along, it's just FIFO families. And I watch them, I've said this before, they walk in and they're quite anxious because they're not really sure what to expect. And then they start talking to other FIFO families and they're like, oh my God, you get it. Like, I don't have to, there's no judgment here. Like, I don't have to explain a roster. Like, you understand that R&R isn't like unicorns and rainbows. Sometimes it's really quite challenging and nobody tells you about that. But actually I feel more normalised knowing that it's okay because it's something that everybody goes through. So it's so amazing to see them literally just kind of relax and go, oh, thank God, I can spend 2 hours without having to explain my life choices.
Yeah. Do you have, do you know the percentage of single parents versus just, you know, like even single parents working in the mines? I know a number of them, and they go home and they've got their kids for half the time, whatever it may be. How do you navigate with those families as well?
So I don't know the percentages. That's not something I ask when people come to the meetups or they register. But ultimately, one thing that I do say is that we are for every member of the FIFO family. So we have FIFO workers that come along. We have, I had a lady come along the other day who is an older lady who doesn't have kids, but she said, oh, I'm new to Perth. I've only been here a few weeks. Can I come? I said, yeah, of course you can, love. Like, come along and have a chat. Like, it's completely for everyone, judgment-free. They're such a great group and community because I feel like there's this thing, especially when you are a FIFO partner, that you know how hard it is to get out and to integrate with the community or build your network or find your people. So people are really happy to chat and they're really happy to just have another conversation with people. And the kids when they meet other kids, one of my favourite feedbacks ever was from this gorgeous lady who wrote me an email, and they'd just moved to Perth a couple of months, let's say for argument's sake, not long. And she sent me an email saying, when we got home, my daughter started playing a role play game, and it was set there, you tell me what FIFO your daddy does, and I'll tell you what FIFO my daddy does.
Wow, cool.
And she said, I don't think daughter's name ever realised that there were other kids that had FIFO daddies.
I just thought their dad went away to work and...
Because they were from a place where it wasn't that common. So they were the only FIFO family there, whereas when they came over here and they came to the meetups, the kids were like, oh, cool, there's more of us. Like,
that's awesome.
That's one of my favourite feedbacks of all time.
In regards to the kids, so how many people are turning up to these events?
Yeah, so on average, depends if it's raining. We had one on Sunday with that torrential storm, and I was convinced it was going to be just me, but we had about 30 people turn up.
I did see I can't remember if it was on Instagram or somewhere, that there was a change. Was it a change of venue? Or was there a...
Oh, no, we're really lucky because we're sponsored...
Is it indoor?
Yeah, we're sponsored by Miralinga for our venues, and I'm so grateful to them. They've been on board from word go that we go ahead, rain or shine. So they have these cool...
Is it always indoor?
No.
Yeah,
no,
okay,
no.
okay.
If the weather's good, even if it's cold, like we go outside and it's a fully fenced playground, and the venues, the Miralinga venues have change tables, kitchens for heating up bottles, safe spaces for kids because they're family centres, they're kids centres. So we're really fortunate that we get to use those, and rain or shine, we go ahead, because if the weather, like the weekend, was crap, we just stay inside and we put out an SOS to some of the mums to bring some toys, and kids just played inside, and we had quite a few new families actually on the weekend as well, which was really nice. So,
and at these meetups, run me through a meetup.
Someone said this to me the other day. They're like, "Do you do craft? Like, do you do
That's
activities?"
that's what I was thinking. What is it? It's not.
Like,
it's
no,
not a
I'm
whole bunch of.
I just rock up and open the doors.
Is there food?
No.
No food, no cup of tea?
I know. Honestly, I'm a hard
I
bargain.
can imagine.
No, it's very, very low key.
Okay.
Very low key, very completely judgment free, completely expectation free. Like, rock up, BYO coffee, bring your snacks, and just have a sit down, have a
Mums
chat.
or dads with young kids, they're going to have snacks on hand anyway.
100%. It's a fully fenced play area, so you can have a conversation. If you don't have kids, come along and have a chat to the adults. Like, it is, I can't explain how more casual it is than that. I literally open the doors and I'm there to talk. So if anybody is having a challenge or a tough time, or especially if they're new to Perth, like they might not know the services that are available. So I act as sort of like a point of liaison for anything that they've got going on. And if I don't know the answer, then I know who to ask. I can find out for them. But yeah, it's really, the whole point is about network building and community building. And
so important in this industry,
important.
isn't it? Networking. You a member of the WA Mining Club?
I've been to one of their events. Yeah, I haven't been to any sort of latelys, but yeah, I know they're good fun.
That's another great thing for anyone in the industry to come along to. Very informative and great networking. I'm a firm believer in it.
Yeah.
You've talked about expanding this project nationally. How's that going to look?
Yeah, so that's something that I've always been keen to do. It's just a bit of sort of logistics and partnership going on at the moment. But ultimately, there's FIFO families all around Australia, all around the world. But being able to get these meetups into local areas. So the next one we're going to look to do is probably down south, so do one in Busselton. And then look to expand that over into other states as well. Because I get contacted from families all the time in Queensland or Victoria, just saying, can we have events here? And I said, I'd love to, but I can't come over once a month. So they need to be peer-led. They need to be led by FIFO families in the area. And I want to be able to set that up sustainably. So working on like a volunteer model so that they get training, so that they are able to advocate for family services in the area. And it's also setting people up for conversations, because let's be honest, I do have some families who come to me and they are having a really hard time. So being able to have those conversations with them, support them through it, and then give them the referral onto the services that can actually help them deal with that.
Do you find you're being supported by, obviously you are, could you do with more support?
Always.
And who would you be looking at for more support?
Yeah, so basically we have no advertising budget whatsoever. So everything I do is word of mouth. Everything I do is spamming the living daylights out of Facebook groups, and I get banned for self-promotion like nobody's business. But yeah, we definitely need to get the word out there. We need partners from corporates to be able to show that they are supporting their families and their workers. And it's not just necessarily a nice to have. It's this one piece that I am completely dedicated to, and I always will be, is this education and information piece. It's why we did the FIFO New Parents Guide, which just came out in June. It's why we're doing the book, which is coming out in November.
How are we getting these newsletters out to sites?
So the guide is through our website. So that's just free to download from our website.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And it is about getting it to the FIFO worker, but also to the partners at home, because the challenge is that a lot of our workers, they're out on the tools, they're on ops, they're not sitting getting emails every day. They're not thinking, oh, I'll flick that to my wife or I'll flick that to my husband. So I have to be a bit sort of strategic in the sense
Have you approached mining companies directly and then said, asked them, are you able to support this venture?
Yeah, not yet. I'll be totally honest with you, not yet. It is definitely on the cards because I do need support to keep this going. But it is one of those things where it's about meeting the right people. It's about also people reaching out to me if they want sort of services to help support. So,
have you reached out to DEMAs? With the new legislation with psychosocial, how important would it be to be able, and I think you will get the support.
Yeah, definitely.
You'll definitely, 13 months or just over a year of doing this, and you've had a great reception so far. I do think that something like this does need, has legs, and it does need the support. If you can get someone like DEMAs on board to be saying, hey, listen, work safe, or whoever. These people are some men, women, whoever in the industry are struggling and suffering due to worries at home or sick children or whatever it may be, whatever may arise. It's very important to be able to get this information, these packs, into the hands of the right people.
100%. And I have been having conversations with them as well. It's mainly one thing that I am very passionate about, and it's one of the reasons that I started it as a sort of not-for-profit, is having access to it for every FIFO worker and every FIFO family. Because what I sometimes find is that some of the big guys and some of the big guys' employees get a lot of support, but then the contractors get nothing. Smaller companies get nothing. We need to be more innovative in our sort of mental health strategies, because people will say things like, oh, we've got an EAP. And it's like, well, no, that's not okay. It's good that you have an EAP, don't get me wrong, but that's a safety net. It's not a support strategy. Yep. We need to be proactive in our information and education for workers and their families so that they can be informed of what they're taking on. Because so many people, I don't know about you, but I know when I first went to site, I hadn't got a clue what I was walking into.
I come from New Zealand.
Yeah.
I had no idea about FIFO. I just turned up and said, I'll give that a crack. I'll do whatever you want me to do.
Yep. And you find out through trial and error. Generally. Yes, you get 1,000 inductions on safety. Yes, you get 1,000 JSAs and take fives and all that physical safety stuff. Yeah, sure. We get that. Nobody's disputing that. But all of the other stuff, the stuff that impacts your mental health, your home life, the fact that no one tells you that R&R is a reintegration and a renegotiation of all of your family dynamics. It's not just a big hug at the airport every time. It's more complex than that, but nobody tells you. You find out when you get home, and then you're battling with your missus or your husband or whatever. And you're thinking, hang on, I've been waiting for him to get home. Why the hell are we rubbing up against each other and just arguing and fighting over nothing? And it's like, because we're working out how to be in the same place again and how to renegotiate that. But people, if you don't know, they just see it as challenge, and they just see it as, we can't do FIFO, it's not working. And it's like, not necessarily. It's just that you were never given the information. Some people say to me, I feel like I'm failing at FIFO. And I'm like, how can you fail? No one taught you anything.
Exactly.
You're learning by finding out the hard way. And that's the worst way for us to find out.
If you could implement one change based on the information that you now have, if you could implement it tomorrow, what would it be?
I would have an induction for every FIFO family. I would have I do. I have workshops and training and education into an induction package, which also comes into workshops as well. But it's about giving people information up front before they start. So pre-employment, giving them that information about what services are available to use for support. what some of the points of challenge are known to be. And this isn't just me hearing it from families. This is well researched and well documented. There's data, there's smarter people than me in science labs and psychology labs who have got a lot of research and reports with all of this data that have fed into what we have created. So I just believe that we are not setting people up for success. We are setting mental health. People are finding out the hard way when it goes wrong and it gets to crisis. We need to be more proactive. We need to be giving them the information so they can make an informed decision. They may get that information and go, actually, I've got 4 kids and each of them do a different sport in a different location on any given one day. I can't do this as a solo parent. Oh, maybe FIFO's not for me. And that sounds so black and white and obvious when you talk about it like that. But a lot of people now, interestingly enough, have a very skewed perception of FIFO due to TikTok. I have my feelings on FIFO TikTok, but also due to the cost of living. More families are are feeling that FIFO is their only option, and they're not actually choosing it as a career choice. Like there's a different...
I see that and I feel that.
Yeah,
Big
definitely.
Big time. I'm just thinking on the top of my head, HR departments, mining companies' HR departments, you know, when they're during their onboarding process or even, asking those questions from the outset. You don't want to set people up to fail, but also recruitment companies.
Yep.
Recruitment companies would be fantastic as a port of call to be able to discuss with, no point in just sending boots up north or bums on seats if people aren't prepared for the mining industry.
100%.
Look, the mining industry, I say this, well, we've said this on this podcast a few times, it's not for everyone, but I honestly believe that everyone should give it a crack because we need mining in this country. It's so important. So certainly a non-for-profit like yours is very important. And I think you just need to get it into the hands of the right people. And obviously it's new. It'll work, and you're passionate about it. So that's the big driver.
Yeah.
What is the biggest piece of advice that you've received to push this project ahead?
Advice that I've received, I think it's honestly just to keep going. And I know that sounds so daft, but
Not at all. Not at all. It's the one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, there have been many times. I mean, I work 3 jobs and I have 2 kids and a FIFO husband. There have been many times where I have reached complete burnout going, I can't do this anymore. And I have had to learn to take a step back and then reassess and then just take one more step forward and just one more step forward, because I am so passionate about this, and I am so passionate about the fact that it doesn't need to take a lot to make somebody feel supported. But when there isn't there, the impacts of that are catastrophic. We know the impacts of mental health and suicide in the FIFO industry. And
I wasn't aware.
Really?
Look, I was aware, but I wasn't aware how prevalent it was, mental health and also suicides in the mining industry, until sitting down and talking to a whole heap of people.
Yeah.
Debbie Morrow from A Miner's Promise, absolutely phenomenal woman, and doing the right thing. She's got a great team with her, and I think, doing what you're doing, hopefully having that information readily available
100%.
at the get-go
Yes.
can try and help stop or stem some of the mental health issues that we're seeing on mining sites.
100%, because we're just putting Band-Aids on bullet holes at the wrong end. It's when it gets to crisis, and what we need to be doing is being proactive in the mental health space, being innovative, being, like we were talking about, getting that information so people can make an informed choice. And then ultimately, yes, we're talking about mental health in this space, but let's talk about business. The companies are going to retention in the FIFO industry. The turnover is huge. If they're getting people there who are mentally well, they are informed about what they're getting themselves in for, they're being supported, they know that their family are being supported so that they can focus on site, so that they're not distracted and thinking about other things. That's only going to do better for the industry as a whole.
Yeah. Do you have any parting words that you would like to discuss or talk about to really push home your project?
Sure. I can't do this on my own. Like, it is a community project. It's called the FIFO Family Project as a nod to the Wheatstone Project, but it's also a group project.
Yep.
I am open to partnerships and to collaborations, and just FIFO needs a facelift. We need to give it the attention that it is due about the impacts it has on families, workers and communities at large, so that we can all be in it together. So anything that anybody wants to talk to me about or partner or get involved with, please reach out and let me know. I'm open to all discussions and networking opportunities.
Amazing. What we will do is obviously this.
Yeah.
We will also put the website in the show notes.
Wonderful.
And any links that you think will be advantageous to your business.
Wonderful. I'll definitely, the FIFO New Parents Guide, it's completely free to download from the website, and it is available to all FIFO workers and family members. So that would be a great one.
That's exactly what we'll do. Well, thank you very much for coming in and spending your morning, your busy morning, with us. It's much appreciated.
Thanks for having me.
I hope a lot of people get, whoever needs it, gets something out of it. And also, it's not just about if you do need it, if you know someone
Absolutely.
that you think may need some help or assistance to steer them in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. Let them know we're there.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you very much for tuning into another awesome episode on the Gold Room podcast, where we're taking amazing businesses, amazing non-for-profits from the mic to the mine. Thank you.